Good evening, tubers of the RC Universe. Welcome to RC Helicheck UK for yet another instalment of this channel. Today we're going to be looking at an aeroplane, a twin-engine aeroplane at that. At the end of the war, or just really towards the end of the war, the Americans developed their first twin-engine aircraft. It was a night fighter and strike aircraft that was operated by the United States Navy and the United States Marine Corps. Although it really didn't see any active service during the end of the Second World War, it did see a lot of work in the Korean War as a night fighter and reconnaissance aircraft. We are, of course, talking about the F7F Tigercat, and that is what we are looking at today. And for a foamy, it is a big one. Let's crack on, guys, and have a look at this. The most common Tigercats on the RC market at the moment are the Freewing and the FMS Tigercat. Now, although there are lots of videos out there on both of these aircraft, this one is on the FMS Tigercat. I have owned both, this one being the latest. I literally picked this up 3 or 4 hours ago. This is the FMS Tigercat, and as you can see, it is the silver one, and boy is it big. I mean, compared to the Freewing one which I had, which, don't get me wrong, was a really nice model, this seems to be leaps and bounds better. The foam quality seems to be better. It's a lot heavier for a start off, but those of you who are the observant ones will see that there are no three-bladed propellers on it. That is because this is fitted with the race pack, as they call it, with the upgraded motors, and I believe they are the beaver props that they did when this was released, and boy does it go quick. But this is the subject of today's video. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, it's another FMS Tigercat. There's loads of videos out there on the FMS Tigercat. I agree. However, there are no videos of the Tigercat being done how I am going to do this. This, ladies and gents, boys and girls, is going to be upgraded. Not with the power pack, because it's already got that. I've got a friend. This is going through a drastic, and I mean drastic, colour change. And I don't... How rude. I don't believe there is actually a video out there of something like this being done. So as far as I'm concerned, this is going to be a first. Now, most of you will know that the most common colours for the Tigercat are the navy blue scheme, obviously because the Navy operated it, and this silver colour scheme, which I believe is what mainly the Marines used. However, what I am going for is a colour scheme that was operated by the Navy Air Training Centre, and their aircraft, oh my god. Hang on a second, guys. I can't be doing with all these interruptions. Anyway, as I was saying, the silver one was mainly operated by the Marines, if I remember rightly. But this one, like I said, is going in the Naval Air Test Centre colours. And they are bright. They are really bright. And I think it's going to be the first time, like I say, that this is ever going to be done. And what we are going to be looking at is completely stripping the aircraft down, and then once it's stripped down, I'll be going over everything with a fine-tooth comb. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because I know it's perfect anyway, but each part will be individually disassembled from the model because it'll make it easier to paint. And the colours that the Naval Air Test Centre operated this actual model in was bright yellow. Now, some people are going to go, bleh, but it is a genuine colour scheme. It is not one that has been made up. The Navy actually operated this aircraft in a yellow colour scheme, and it actually looks really nice, and that's what we're going to be going for. And the point of this video really is to show you the process of what I do to get it to that process, and how I'm going to do it. Like I say, I'll disassemble each part from the aircraft and put it basically back to kit form how it was when it came out of the box. That's going to mean like removing the engine nacelles from both wings, removing the tail planes. All these are all held in by screws, so nothing is going to be damaged or anything like that. The only thing that I will be leaving on is the nose cone, because the nose cone is actually glued on. Some people never used to glue it on, they just used to push it on, but it came off quite easily. So that's been glued on by the previous owner, who was a fellow club member of our club up here. Not a problem, not an issue. He's done what it should have done, but I'll be leaving that on. The only downside is the colour scheme of this aircraft being silver. It's got this really nice decal on, and it's going to be going. However, it's a water slide decal, so I'm going to have to treat this one carefully. But I will be painting over the top of that. I can't get it off because of it being a water slide, and I'll do more damage to the phone if I try and scratch it off than what I would do if I didn't just paint over the top. And when it's painted over, you're not going to see it anyway. These, however, these decals, these were the thicker vinyl decals that they made, and although they're all right, they'll be able to peel off, and I'm not bothered if it pulls the paint off, because like I say, it's going to get a completely different colour scheme. But hopefully I'll be able to remove them off by heating them up slightly from a distance so that the glue softens, and I'll be able to peel them off with minimal damage to the paint. Because even though it doesn't matter that I'm painting the whole thing over, the more paint I can leave on, the better it will be, because I'll have to really treat that area with some quite important like sanding and whatnot to get it completely smooth, because you will see where the decal was. If I pull the paint straight off, it'll be difficult to feather it all together. So I've got the decal on the fuselage on both sides, and then the same with these ones. Oh crap, there we go. These are the same ones on this side as well. They're vinyl decals which are quite thick, so I should be able to heat them up slightly and be able to peel those off. That's the plan anyway. And then we've got the same on the wings, on the top and on the bottom of each of the wings. Sorry, the bottom of this wing, on the top of that wing. Now, when it comes to graphics, normally I would use, and you guys in the States, well, and over here in the UK, one of the most common people to use for decals for this model is Cali Graphics, and I've used Cali before. She provides an outstanding, and I mean an outstanding service when it comes to like decals for these models. And any of you that will know, she's got a huge range of decals for this model and loads of other free wing and FMS models as well. She'll do whatever scale that you want. If you know what scale of your model is, you tell her that scale and she will be able to size them accordingly. I've used her a few times and her service is perfect, and it's brilliant, and it's quick. Even from the States to here, you know, I had some for my Bal Huey that you can see on previous videos, video that I'm starting to refurb. She did the graphics on that, and she actually designed them from scratch because she hadn't got them. I had them within 2 weeks. That's how good she is. She's awesome. I love her. Anyway, I don't need to get Callie to do the graphics for this because I can do them myself. I've recently started making my own graphics, not because I don't trust Callie, but because on certain things I can do it cheaply by myself with water slide, and they are literally done on an inkjet printer. And I was hoping to have them actually done for this video, but my inkjet printers ran out of ink because I use it quite a lot, and I've had to order some more. They've come today, so I'm going to do a separate video and show you how I make the decals and what process I go through to get them done. But most of the decals on this are black. The only things that aren't are literally the stars and bars, and I've got a set of stars and bars that I can use on this. They're different to these ones. They're the ones with the red stripe down the middle, so they'll be the ones that I'll be using. I believe they actually came from Cali, from another model that I had, or they might have come from another kit. I think they may have actually came from the Free-Wing Tigercat. But anywho, so those will be the only decals that will be vinyl covered, and the rest of them that I'll be doing, it's got NATC on the tail, and then on the nose you've got, I think it's 336, the number that goes on the nose. It's literally just black. So I can do those myself quite easily using my printer and my program that I use to make them with. but I'll show you how to do that later on in another video. They won't be part of this video, I don't think. But anyway, as I was saying, process for this video is literally to strip it all down. Now, how I do, or how I'm going to be painting this is it's a long process, but it's a really clever process and it works really well. As you might have noticed, I've got my compressor with me. Those are the colours for the actual base colour of the aircraft. That's the actual yellow that it's going to be. But my compressor is basically for this. This is a black primer, and I use this purely and simply for spraying on the panel lines. It won't be where all the rivets are, because the rivets are, you know, you don't do them on the rivets. What you've got to do are these panel lines that you can see here. It's literally like how people do a plastic kit, but it's just on a bigger scale. But you literally spray over all of the panel lines with black paint, and it doesn't matter how straight it is, it doesn't have to be perfect. You literally just spray over every panel line, on the tail, on the rudder, on the fuselage, on the wings, completely. And then what you do after that is, once it's all dry, you give the aircraft its first base colour, and you don't do it heavily, you give it a thin coat, so it starts to change the colour, but it doesn't completely block out the black that you've already done. Because the whole point of you doing it that way is, if you just went over it in solid one colour, you're completely covering up what you did. The whole process is basically so that when you come to paint it, the black bleeds through. Not a lot, but enough, so when it's finished, it gives you a very nice weathered look on the aircraft, a used look on the aircraft. And that is basically the point of this video, really, is to show you what I do to get it to the stage where I'm going to get it, and how I do it, so that you guys, if you ever want to do something like this yourself, you can do the same process, because it works with any model, with any colour. As long as you know what you're doing, and as long as you're careful with what you're doing, anybody can achieve it. It takes a little bit of practice sometimes, and you've got to have a good airbrush. The airbrush that I use, it cost me over 100 quid, but it produces a really fine, literally less than a millimetre stripe with its like finest point, up to over an inch spread on its deepest. Now, when it comes to doing this on a plastic 1/32 or 1/24 kit like I like building, that is absolutely necessary. But on this, because it's such a big model, I don't have to worry about the thinness. Literally, it'll probably be around about 6mm wide, but it'll be a feathered 6mm wide spread that I'll be putting on all the panel lines. But you'll see it as it goes along. But the first process, like I say, we're going to strip the model down of everything that's on it. This is a big plane. I'm going to struggle to get it in shot, in frame, so the camera is going to be a little bit further back than what I would normally have when I'm working on something on here. I mean, I usually work on this square section here with most of the stuff, but as you can see, this sort of like kind of supersedes it. It's pretty big. I can't remember what's the wing, 1700mm the wingspan on this, but it's a big plane. It is a big plane, so bear with me on the old camera angles, guys. I'll try and get it in as best as I can. I'm not going to do it on normal time. I'm going to put you into futuristic time-lapse mode, so I look an idiot when I'm doing it. We'll strip it all down, get all the components off that I want and how I want it, and then I'll come back to you once it's all done. So I'll see you in a sec, guys. And there we have it, guys. That is it, all broken back down into kit form. And the reason I realised I couldn't get into all the frame last time was because I had the camera zoomed in like an idiot. So yeah, but that's everything broken down now. Tail planes at the back and the fuselage, which as you probably saw kept tipping over on me because it is a thin fuselage. Engine nacelles off, wings basically down to how they are out of the box. 2 props have been removed. The only reason I've took those off is because I need to get access to the motors, not the motors, because I need to paint those as well. We'll put some detailing onto those. These actually unscrew, which is good because I can't remember if they are actually on the real aircraft. I think they are, because I think it is literally just a standard war. Oh, hey, they're stuck on hard. I'll get them up in a minute. I'm not sure whether they had the machine guns on, but I'll have to have a look and do a bit of research on pictures. But all that was done with literally a 2mm hex drive and a set of ball link pliers. So it took me probably what, 10 minutes to disassemble completely, 10-20 minutes. So now all I need to do now is basically give it a wipe down because it is covered in dust. There's lots of dust on it, 3 years worth of dust. Give all that a wipe down, get rid of that, and then it'll be a case of getting the heat gun out and trying to get the decals off without damaging the paint, if I can. Hopefully should be able to, and then we are ready then to prep it for painting the lines. But yeah, it's coming on strong, so to say. Now the downside is that I am again up here in the evening. I've been busy today. I haven't been able to get up here until a lot later this evening again. Although it's around about, I think it's around about 7:45 in the evening up here. The weather's turning turtle. You can see that dark cloud over there. Looks like it's going to rain in a bit. Yeah, it's going to be getting dark up here soon. So I'm probably not going to get all this done in this video. I'm going to have to carry on with it tomorrow. We've got the heli shop boys here with us tomorrow. They're spending the day here with us, with the barbecue, having a barbecue and whatnot, and flying their helis. So I probably won't be doing any more of this until tomorrow evening once everybody's gone. I'm honestly not going to do anything while they're here because you can see how much room I've taken up, and to be fair, this bench from end to end will be full of chargers for the heli shop boys, as will be the opposite side. And as you can see, I've took up most of the space on there as well. But yeah, I'll probably end the video there for now, guys, and I'll be back with you tomorrow, or in your case about a split second. See you later. Oh, unfortunately, guys, as I predicted, although I hoped it wouldn't happen, pulling the decals off, even doing it as gently as I could, has pulled the paint off, which just goes to show how thin the paint actually is on these models. It looks like literally just one coat, but not a problem. Just means it's going to be an extra bit of work to make sure that those joins where the paint has come away are smooth and feathered in as best as I can. It's going to be difficult because these raised rivets, if I sand too hard, it's going to take the rivets down. So I'm literally just going to scuff them over really light with some really fine padded sand grit paper. Not actually sandpaper, they're actually sponge pads that I use. They float over the top of each sort of like rivet without really doing that much damage. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but hey ho. Another thing that I forgot to do as well, which I'll just show you now, is to take the cowl rings and the radial, I don't know what you'd call that, replica, basically, the plastic moulded radial. Take those off as well if you're going to be doing this, because it makes it so much easier to paint these things, which are going to be done by me. It also gives me the opportunity to show you the race pack setup that they recommend to make it go faster, and it is a Predator 4258 4258 550 kV motor. Now the only thing that disturbed me with this was on the original setup you had the 2 3-bladed props, but they were set up so that got a frog in my throat. They were set up so that they rotated, one went clockwise, one went anti-clockwise, but with the race setup, the 2 propellers, as you can see, the pitch is the same direction. Now I thought maybe that having them like that is going to create torque issues. I would like to have preferred it if one propeller was pitched the other way around, so I could have them rotating either outwards, anti-clockwise and clockwise, or both rotating inwards. I would have preferred that because it would have reduced torque. But I did look on the old YouTube, and I looked at a guy that I've followed for quite a while now called RC Universe Rich. He is pretty damn good, and he did a review on the Tigercat, on the FMS Tigercat, and he did a separate video where he installed the Predator race pack, and I looked to see if, you know, make sure that this wasn't an error, that the 2 propellers that were bought were wrong, and his actually have the same propellers on, both rotating anti-clockwise, and he flew it with no issues. There was no mention of a torque or anything like that, and it flew just like it did with the 3-bladed prop, so I'm not too worried about that now. Anyway, that's literally everything broken down. I've got rid of all that dust, because there was quite a lot of dust, as you saw. 3 years worth of dust has now gone. I've wiped it all off. That rag is, well, you can't really tell, but it's covered in dust. So there we go. Next stage now is basically do the black panel lines. Oh, the decals, although they came off and bought the paint with them, a lot of people would say, oh well, crap happens, shit happens, like, but these can actually be reused, and I will be reusing them, and I will show you how I do that, because some people, they use a spray adhesive, but I don't. I use this. That, although it looks like masking tape, is a very, very thin double-sided tape, and all I will do is basically turn each decal over, and once I've got them set in place, I will just, in equal lengths side by side, not overlapping, literally equal lengths side by side, cover the whole decal with basically that tape. And what happens then is I cut around the edge with a sharp scalpel knife, and usually a pair of scissors as well on the straighter bits, so it'll be easier to cut with scissors. But around the curved bits, I usually use a sharp scalpel knife, cut around those, and then once that's done, you've basically got a decal that can be reused. All you need to do is just peel the backing off of the tape, and you can stick it back on. And because it's so thin, and I mean it really is wafer thin, you can't tell. You really can't tell. And I did this for the first time. I experimented with this method on my Phoenix LA9, and I took the decals off using the heat up and peel method, and although it left quite a lot of glue on the actual airframe itself, I was able to reuse the decals again. And when I repainted that aircraft and put them back on, you could not tell. So don't ever throw your decals away if you can peel them off without damaging them, like I've done here, because basically, like I say, most of the paint's come off, so they're not damaged at all. You can, if you want to reuse them, recover them using that method, and I highly recommend it because it works awesome. So that's basically it. Now all we've got left to do is to set up the old compressor and mix up some of my black paint, and then we can start doing the panel line process. Trust me, this is probably do is I do one wing panel in time lapse, do the other one off camera, do one laser time lapse, leave the other one, do it off camera. Same with the two wing tips, tail planes. The cows I don't really do because they're seamless all the way around. I will do the video, including the video, what I do with the radials, and then I'll probably do one side on time lapse with fuselage, and the other side I'll do that bit done, and we can start the process of adding the colour. Anybody wants to know what this is? These are Montana Gold. Don't be mistaken, the paint is not gold, it is just the name of the series. Montana Gold, and it is a acrylic. Oh my lord. It is an acrylic based paint, so it does not, I repeat, it does not melt the foam, and it's any foam. This stuff goes on really nice, and I've used it time and time again. They're brilliant, these are. And the actual colour that you can see on top of the lid is exactly the same colour that will set on your aircraft. So whatever colour you want, if you can match it perfectly with these, which you can, because the company that produce these, Graph City in the UK, they have got a spectrum of colours with thousands of different colours on, and these are all available for you to order, and they're roughly at the moment around about $5.50, about $6 for you guys in the States, and they're awesome. You can actually coat, I had a Phoenix, a Black Horse Spitfire, one of the big Black Horse Spitfires, and it was in a camo colour scheme, which is what the Black Horse Spit came in. And the previous owner to me that had that aircraft did horrendous, and I mean horrendous, weathering detail on it. It was literally silver brushing down the sides, and it looked shocking. And I tried to get it off, and no matter how hard I tried, it would not come off. And I bought literally 4 cans of this, but in a light blue colour, and I transformed the aircraft into a PR9 reconnaissance spit, and by God did it look good. And it literally needed one coat of paint from those tins covered the whole lot in one go. Well, not one tin covered the whole lot, but one coat of paint covered it all. I didn't have to give it a second coat, and it looks stunning in the air. So yeah, they're good. They're not sponsored. They don't sponsor me or anything like that. But if you do want to know more about them, like I say, the company's called Graph City. They are based in the UK, and I'm sure they ship worldwide. They do other variants of paints as well, not just the acrylic. They do cellulose based paints. But these guys, they're actually, I think they were started by graffiti artists, and they're actually sold for people that do the graffiti art on the walls. And I don't mean the ones that do, you know, illegal graffiti. They get like proper graffiti artists that paint on walls. But they're brilliant product. Highly recommend them. If you want to paint a plane with a massive area, those are the things to do it with. So right, let's have a look at the daylight dark. These GoPro cameras enhance the light more than what it is actually showing. It is almost twilight. The sun has gone down. Yeah, I'm going to go back to what I originally said. I'm going to call it quits for tonight, and I'll carry on with the video tomorrow evening once the Helishot boys have all gone, and we'll start doing this lining process, because like I say, it's long. So I'll see you later, guys. Right, it's a couple of days later, guys, from when I last worked on this model. I was planning on doing some stuff yesterday after the Helishot boys left, but they were here till quite late with us, so I didn't get a chance to do anything. So right, we're back on it now. I'm actually going to start doing the pre-shading for the Tigercat, and I'm going to show you in real time what I do with these tail planes here, and then I'll go back into doing the rest of it in time lapse. So everything that you see after this tailplane has been done real time, will all be done in time-lapse mode. It's going to take me a few hours, probably equate to about 4 minutes or something, maybe a little bit longer in time-lapse mode for you guys, but let's crack on with it. Now, I've pre-mixed my paint for it. I'm using a black, I'm using a Villaggio primer to do this with. I've also hit it with some airbrush airflow improver to help it go through the airbrush. Now the thing about this is you don't need to be neat, okay? It is a pre-shading. So what we're looking to do is to cover, you see the panel lines here? We are literally going to be going over all of the panel lines on the aircraft in a black on both sides. And like I say, you don't need to be neat because this is a pre-shading process. So I'll get the airbrush and we'll test the flow of the airbrush to make sure that it's all coming out good, which it is. And then, like I say, we literally just go over all of the panel lines with the black. You don't need to be perfect. You are just covering all of the panel line areas from one end to the other. I love the smell of this Villaggio paint. It's, oh, I tell you what, it comes out really nice and it smells awesome. Make sure everything's covered over and then flip it over onto the other side and then do the same on the other side. Hope you're seeing this, guys, because obviously I can't look at the camera while I'm doing this. And there we go, that is it. That is all we do. You literally go over all the panel lines with the black. Like I say, it doesn't need to be neat because this is going to bleed into the first coat that we're going to be doing it in. And that's it. You put that to one side and then you carry on with the rest of the airframe. Right, we go. There we go, guys. That is everything now done. And to be fair, I'm pretty impressed with that because it did not take me as long as what I was expecting. It took me, say, about excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Oh dear. I'd say it probably took me 2.5 hours to do everything. And the longest bit obviously was the fuselage. As you can see, it's a pretty big fuselage for a foamy. and that is what took the longest. But we are all done and ready to have its first top coat. You can see there I've got my tin of, my first tin of Montana Gold yellow paint upside down. I always turn the tins upside down and leave them for about 5 or 10 minutes. That way it gets any of the thick paint that may be stuck at the bottom moving before I give them a shake. And while I've got the camera up, here are the decals that I made. I have done a separate video on that process that I did a couple of nights ago. That's already uploaded on my channel if you want to have a look at that. A little bit boring, but I thought people might want to know how I do it. But I made these myself using an inkjet printer, and basically the details on how to do that are on one of my other videos. And as per typically, here we are on a day where yesterday we had glorious sunshine and no wind. Today, when I need to do some brushing, painting, rattle can painting outside, it's blowing a hoolie again. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle doing this, but I've got no choice but to do it outside, because if I do it in here, well, let's put it this way, the place will look like a mustard tin's exploded by the time I finish. So I'm going to do them just outside the door here by hand. I'll put the camera probably, I might be able to find something to put it on, but I'll put the camera out here so you can see me doing it while I'm doing it, like the process, but it'll be on a time lapse because there's no point me doing it slow-mo. But the plan is to start off first with this first rattle can, is to hopefully give everything its first coat. Now the key to getting this to work is by coating literally everything in layers. So you wouldn't go in with a rattle can and just spray the whole thing, because you're just going to cover up everything that you've done. So the key to get it to work is basically to spray everything over all the stuff with very thin layers. That way then you can judge, probably after about two or three layers, you can see the panel line shading, pre-shading starts to disappear, and it'll get to the point where you've got enough coverage on where most of this will be hidden, but it'll give the aircraft a good weathered look with the panels. So I'm going to have a quick drink and something to eat because I'm starving, and then we'll crack on with it, guys, and start putting the first coat of yellow from that tin down there. Okay guys, right, that's the first coat. I say the first coat, it's the first coat on the fuselage all the way over, and I tell you what, it's bloody awkward doing this, really awkward. Can you see me? Hi, the wing panels and the tail planes, they've only been done on one side. I've still got to do the other side, but I'm going to do those off camera. No point in me doing that again with you guys watching. But as you can see, the black is now starting to fade slightly. I've done all that, and I'll probably use 2/3 of the can of this just by doing that first coat. I've got 3 cans. I've got more than enough to do this all. Also, I did a list of the weight of everything before I painted it, and then when it's completely done with all the coats on that I need, I'm going to weigh each component again and add the total up and see what the difference is between the two with it not painted, or before painted and then after. Just something I like to do to see how much weight painting a model has added in grams. But as you can see, it is coming along really nicely. My hand is absolutely killing me. Pressing that button down, it's like... Anyway, I'm going to crack on, get the second coat on the top of the wings and the tail planes, and then when they're drying I'll go into the second coat on the nacelles, the canopy, the fuselage and the nacelle covers, and then by that time I'll be able to do the second coat on the bottom of the wings and the bottom of the tail planes as well. I won't bother recording that, videoing that, there's no point, but what I will do is I'll come back after I've given it the second coat, and then I'll do a time lapse with the third and hopefully final coat, so you can get to see what the end product looks like. And then we'll give it an hour or two to dry, and then I should be able to give it a quick wipe over, because this stuff leaves very little dust. So I'll get a lint cloth, give it all a quick wipe over, and then hopefully I'll be able to apply the decals that I made the other night, because they've been coated with a lacquer to seal them all in. So I should be able to put the decals on as well, hopefully. I'm a little bit concerned about where the decals came off on the fuselage and on the wings, because obviously it's peeled the silver paint off and it's gone down to the bare white foam. But I'm hoping with the 3 coats that I have, it'll practically get rid of those. But it's not going to be an issue, because the stars and bars that I printed out will be going over the top of them anyway, so most of it will be covered up. This bit here where the props, danger markers, doesn't matter about those as well, because I'm reusing the ones that came with the kit by doing what I said the other day, with covering the decals back up on the back and using them again. And I'm kind of hoping that the La Patrona sign will also disappear, but it's coming along. I'm quite happy with that, guys. So I'm going to turn you off, change the battery, do the second coat, and then I'll come back to you once I've done the second coat, and I'll do a time lapse with the third. So I'll see you in a bit, guys. Okay, guys. I've got a horrible frog in my throat. That is now 2 coats of paint, and hopefully you'll be able to see the difference between that and the first coat. But the yellow is starting to cover the black pre-shading quite nicely, and as you can see, it's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. In fact, I'm very happy with that. I'm still going to do the second coat on the other side of, see the difference. They've not been done yet. They're the only 2 that I've done. Again, on the other side is that and the main wings, but you can see the difference. It's quite dark there, and it's dark there. So, yeah, they need another coat on the other side. The wings, they've been done twice from the bottom, so the top surface, these have been done twice now. The masons have been done twice now. 1/3 of a can left by the time I finish doing the tops of the 2 wings and the tail planes, but I still have another full unused can. So she's getting there, she is getting there, and it's about 5:30, 6 p.m, something like that. So I've still got another 2 or 3 hours. I'm determined to get this done before I go home tonight. Anyway, let's crack on with the 3rd coat. Sorry, the 2 wings and then the 3rd coat. Well, that was a close one. Literally just had enough paint to do it all. Unfortunately, the sun's decided to come out now. It's the end of the day, which is usually typical at this place. But as you can see, the whole of the aeroplane fuselage is done, and it actually looks really good. The only thing I'm not too sure about is the nose. I can't see right at the very bottom. I don't know if I've got everything at the bottom there. I think I have. I'll have to have a look in a bit, but because the wind's died down, I brought it out here to hang it up and paint it, because it's awkward to do otherwise, to give it its final coat. And then in here we have the rest of this shizzle, and again everything has now had 3 coats, and the camera is not doing this paint scheme justice. You can just see the weathering on the wings coming through. I think I might need to give it 1 more coat just to be on the safe side on the wings. I might have enough paint to give it another coat. We'll see what happens. But yeah, there we go. Engine painted. Aerial, done 1 coat, trees and the course. For something that I've never done on a big warbird, a old scale warbird, I'm used to doing this kind of thing on a big plastic kit. To be honest with you, this is the first time I've tried this one in a while, and it works just well. Pretty bad package of this, pretty simple, I've never used it. Like better. Like better. You can just see the river. What paint I've got left, and it should be just about right. So I'll come back to you guys in a bit. Right, I'm happy with this, really am. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wipe all the panels over, everything over, get all the light dust off it, and then I think what I'm going to do is put the decals on. Why not? You know what I mean? It's dry enough. This stuff dries ever so quick. That's what I like about these paints. However, I don't know if you can see that, my air tank, you see that? My air tank, when I emptied it, I only got to put one of the decals on top of the water from the emptying of the tank, but I'm hoping it will still be okay. So I'm probably going to try these ones first and get these ones on. So a bit peeved about that, but if worse comes to the worst, I should just print out some new ones. So I'll stick you guys in time-lapse mode while I quickly wipe this all over, and then I'll get the decals sorted out and I'll show you how I'm putting the decals on. See you in a bit. Right guys, I'm going to start off with this decal here that's got partial water soakage, and that goes on the towel here, so it is literally just cut it out as close to the lettering as possible. It's a bit temperamental around by the bit where the water damage was. God, I hope I ain't ruined these, because I don't want to have to go through printing this lot off again. So yeah, just cut your decal out as you would normally do with any model, whether it be a plastic kit or RC, and then let's get this thing on before it's knackered. One consolation is at least having the deck, yeah, it started to come away from the paper already. This ain't going to take much to get on. Just hope it hasn't lost its adhesion. Right, soapy water, warm soapy water, droppy, sinky, pressy, flatty. Let it go in and just let that soak for about literally 10 to 15 seconds, because it will start coming off pretty quick. And then let's just get this rudder wedged so that it doesn't move on me. Yeah, there we go. Right. The amount of people that have said to me, why have you got NATO on a Tigercat? Read them and weep, big boy. Right, that's come loose already. That's good. Where's my cloth? I need to wipe my hands. Right. Soapy water in a squeezy. And then give that something to adhere to. Don't be worried about the water running. And then just take the decal off. Come on, big boy, here we go. The sea slightly on the rudder by the looks of it. Come on. Go. Oh yeah. Delete, get rid of that. This is the worst bit, this is the bit that I hate. Get rid of all the crappy water around it first. Come on. And then spread. Just hold the decal in one place while you're pulling it, because you don't want it to. There we go. Oh yeah, that's gone on nice. Come on. Get the water out. Don't want it bubbling. But at the same time, we don't want it tearing either. Come on. That's going. These will be sealed on with a come on Rob, what do you call it, a lacquer. Once the decal has gone off completely, press it down, get it in all them rivets, rivate. Oh, I hate doing water slide decals, but needs must. Just treat it gently. That's going down. That's now going down. Right. Now obviously we've gone over the seam where the come along, where are you? There we go. It's gone over the seam where the rudder goes, so you just get a scalpel as sharp as you can. Come on. I've got a friend. It ain't going, it ain't going, it ain't ripping. Can you believe that? These are bloody tough decals. Always cut from the middle outwards. Don't try and cut from the edge because you'll pull the decal. That is going perfect. There we go. And there we go. One decal. Now that, for me, is awesome. No point in me doing the rest of the decal as normal because you just let me put one on, so I'm going to shove it in time-lapse mode. The only ones that I'm not going to be able to put on today are the stars and bars because I've got to cut the whole thing out with a scalpel as accurately as possible, and then what's left after this has been cut out, I've got to use that as a template to put over the fuselage to spray a white background. Because it just makes it better for the decal with a white background on it. I know this is white decal paper, but it'll still show through a little bit of, it'll bleed a bit of yellow through. So if you just spray the bit where you've got to put the decal, if you use exactly the same template where you cut it out from, it'll be an exact match, and then just place it over the top. It doesn't matter if you don't go all the way to the edge, because obviously like this is dark blue, it's just the white you really need to emphasize. So as long as you're within the edges as close as you can get, cover the whole thing, you're ready to stick your decal on then. But I'll put the airbrush away because I forgot that I'd got to do that, so I'm going to do that probably tomorrow. See what time we are, because I mean it's about 8:30 now and it's dark already. So right, time lapse. Right, there we go guys, everything's all done. Had the centre split on the left and on the other side, that was a pain in the butt. But you can see everything there, everything on the tail, all the measures are ready to go. Got the 360 and the ATC on the top of the way. All I've got left to do now is to start the part, but I'm out of time. So we're going to have to leave it at that, guys. I couldn't get it all done in one go. I tried my hardest, but it's just too much to do. So I'm going to finish this tomorrow. I'm going to end the video here, and I'll do another short video not long after this one with the stars and the bars on, and then I will also basically put it all together and we will fly it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this informative. I hope you enjoyed it. It's something different. I really wish I could get it all done and finished in one go like I was planning, but I just can't do it. So click the old like button and the subscribe button, the notifications. So I'm being attacked by moths here, kamikaze moths as well now. Yeah, click the notifications and the likes and the subscribes and all that malarkey, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow with the rest of this. See you tomorrow, guys.